Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It is so nice to see you. This is my first kind of day back, my first thing back. I had a wonderful weekend. I went glamping the weekend, not lamping Kelly Lamp. That's a different thing. I went glamping. So if you've never been glamping before, glamping is supposed to be glamorous camping. So I had a lovely little cabin. I had a wood-fired hot tub. I had a barbecue. And, you know, I had all of these big plans about walking up mountains, about roaming around hills, but I didn't. I didn't move a single inch for about 3 days, and it was phenomenal. And it is lovely that my first little thing back is meeting you all here on NECA Live. So we're all here. We're all ready. I think we should get cracking. Well, hello everyone, and a big happy Monday, and welcome to another exciting edition of NECA Live. If you haven't joined us before, I'm David Mead. Thank you for joining us either live on LinkedIn or as part of the phenomenal NECA podcast network, or both. We know lots of people like to tune in because it's a different experience, and you can listen to it afterwards to catch up on all of the good stuff. We are the best place for you to hear about all of the latest and greatest from the world of the National Electrical Contractors Association. Now, I want to take a teeny tiny moment to remind everyone that we are 1 week closer to NECA 2021 in Nashville. This will bring the industry's #1 convention and trade show back in person for the first time since 2019. Can you believe it? A couple of weeks ago, we sat down with NECA's convention and meetings team for an overview of all of the amazing things that will take place this October 9 through 12 in Nashville, Tennessee. If you want any more information or to register, go to necaconvention.org. But if you've got some free time after this episode wraps, then go through our LinkedIn feed, watch the video back of all of our big announcements. Now, today we return our attention to a fresh and important topic here at NECA, and that is peer groups. You know, networking is what at the very heart of what we do here at NECA, but peer groups are taking it to a whole new level. NECA is proud of the networking and resources that it provides members, and often some of the best lessons can be learned directly from our fellow members. So for that reason, NECA is stepping up their game and working with some of the world's best outside facilitators to create a series of peer groups fit for every single area of the NECA membership. So here with me today to discuss peer groups at NECA is the man who's helping coordinate this effort for NECA members. It is Ian Andrews. Ian is a regular here on NECA Live. It is wonderful to have you. Ian, you're the NECA field representative from the Midwestern region. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, good afternoon, David. Thank you for having us today.
Oh, I'm delighted to have you back. So tell me, what did you get up to over the weekend? Did you go glamping? Were you wandering around the wilderness like me, Ian?
You know, I kind of was actually, David. I was out in Alexandria, Minnesota. The Dakotas had their annual membership meeting. They had about 200 attendees at a resort. And, you know, when you look around, you're surrounded by lakes and potentially bears. So it was kind of like glamping.
Wow, bears? Okay, that is not the... So do me a favor, if they need an MC, recommend someone else next year, Ian, please. I am not bear capable or able, but it's still great to have you with us, and I'm glad you had such a good time. So let's get started as we explore this areas of peer groups. Can you take us all the way back to the very beginning? What is the origin of peer groups at NECA? What need was identified, and how did you go about solving it?
Yeah, so peer groups, you know, it's not a new concept, and it's something that NECA's tried to create a pathway for members to join a peer group before, but we just didn't have what I would call the countrywide interest to give this a real shot until the pandemic. But then after a year without normal networking opportunities, you know, the hunger really started to grow, and the feedback we received pointed to going all in and trying to get peer groups and get our members into peer groups again. So from there, we wanted to build relationships, and there was no better place to start than bona fide facilitators already connected and using NECA members and peer groups, which were Hope Star, Maxim Consulting, and FMI. All three were really excited about the idea when I connected to them and offered anything they could do to help. So once the pieces were in place, we drew up a marketing plan, and here we are today saying, pitter patter, let's get at her.
Pitter patter, let's get at her. I am stealing that phrase immediately. That's going to end up on a t-shirt, a bumper sticker, and maybe some souvenir mugs as well at convention. Well, look, I think it is so important that we take a strategic approach to this, don't we? Because, of course, the informal networks at NECA, at all of our conventions at NECA now, and, of course, all of the regional chapters as well, those little networks are phenomenally powerful. But when we add structure to it, it means that we can really skyrocket the impact. And I know one piece of this is that these groups partner up companies that are similar in many ways, but are not directly competing. Why is this so crucial to ensuring that everyone gets the absolute most out of the groups?
Yeah, you know, the geography and the non-competing markets, it's really not just a piece of the value. I think it's everything. You know, if you're a company in Milwaukee, you're going to be reluctant to open up your financials, discuss customer concerns, address new strategic initiatives. You're not going to want to do that with a fellow contractor in Milwaukee, right? You're going after the same customers, the same accounts, the same workforce in a roundabout way. Whereas if you're sitting at a table with contractors from Tampa, Portland, Nashville, Phoenix, DC, Boston, the ability to be candid, be open, receive unbiased feedback, and really just get the most out of your peer group experience opens up to an entirely different level of value. So being able to have that countrywide influence and countrywide touch of members across the land, I think it's everything to the experience.
And of course, it brings structure and accountability, doesn't it, as well? Once you know that there's a facilitator of some sort, someone that you need to report to, it's almost like you've got... I always imagine it, Ian. Do you remember back in the day, about 12 million years ago, when your teacher was off sick and there was like a supplier, a substitute teacher in, and when that supply teacher was there, you were like, I'm going to reinvent myself. I'm going to be a whole new person. I'm going to do everything they ask. I'm going to be a good student. And when someone new is coming in, fresh eyes to help drive that forward, it just builds that accountability and the results. And there are so many challenges that electrical contractors face every day. And NECA is working to develop multiple forums where members can share their knowledge and build each other up. How do these groups fit in with that key mission?
Yeah, it's a really big world out there, whether you're glamping or in the hills of Minnesota. But when you network and communicate, it shrinks pretty quick. And the more information gaps that we can close to help our members be competitive, be imaginative, be innovative, and grow quicker than just being isolated on an island by themselves, the better it is for everybody. I hear it over and over again from members that are engaged in both their local and national meetings. They love to network. They love to talk to people across the country. So the peer group plan, it's really putting that networking on steroids, and it's focusing on getting, company-specific goals, company-specific objectives, dedicated facilitators to keep you on track. And in a kind of one of the cooler parts to me is that you have a board of advisors that you have, at your company that are fellow highly qualified electrical contractors. Where else can you get that out and about? You really can't if you're not in a peer group.
Absolutely. And because they have that industry and that sector knowledge, the power of their contribution and suggestions is absolutely unequaled. But I truly believe that what makes this special is having external individuals and facilitators to help guide the conversations, to make sure that it's not just shooting the breeze and getting coffee, that there is a meaningful business impact. And I know that NECA has joined forces with 3 outside companies to help facilitate the formation of the groups. What is it that makes them such a great match for this initiative?
Yeah, you're spot on. Everybody's time is extremely valuable, and that was a big part of how we wanted to build this out and find facilitators that understood that. A couple of things that really stood out to me. First, all 3 and really everybody I spoke to outside of NECA that had involvement with peer groups, they were really passionate about helping contractors out. They wanted them to grow. They wanted them to succeed. The next is that all 3, as we speak, are familiar with NECA, and they have NECA members already in peer groups they lead. So the time span of joining a peer group and then receiving value not only from the facilitators, but from the peer group itself, I think should be very, very quick. And that was really important to us. And then lastly, the level of professionalism and responsiveness to the idea of helping us with peer groups, it's really like splitting hairs when you look at the 3 companies and the differences they provide. They're all in. And I'm really confident that the matching process, once that begins, it'll meet our members' expectations really quickly.
Superb. And I suppose in your mind, how do you see these peer groups at NECA growing in the years to come? Do you see them widening their scope and their appeal? Do you see them getting deeper in the quality and the depth of the conversations that they're having?
Yeah, I see a couple things. The first is hopefully it grows. When this project first came to me and we looked at 2018, the interest, there were about 40 members that wanted to join a peer group. And my first goal was, let's get to 100 by the end of the year that are placed in a peer group. I can say this morning after, and we'll talk about the interest form in a second, after that went out, we've already had 40 responses. So we've met our interest in 2 hours. That's really good. I think you'll see companies getting more and more into the weeds of their own firm, seeing what their strengths and weaknesses are, seeing how they need to grow, seeing what the rest of the country looks like and how they can just be a little bit better. I really look at this and I think the idea that Dave along throughout any member that wants to be in a peer group should have a chance to be in one. It's truly not a marketing line. I think the goal is that every member will want to be in a peer group. And that's where I see this a year, 2 years out from now.
And I just think it's the value, especially after the year and a half that everyone has gone through, the value of collegiality coming together, because I think lots of these members of the peer groups will be shocked that so many are going through the same worries, have the same concerns when their head hits the pillow, but also have the same ambition for the future of their business. So let's take a look. We've got lots of comments coming in. Pete is saying he's looking forward to the family reunion in Nashville. Me too. Mark is saying he's finding the episode very informative. Great. Kelly is saying that he loves peer groups and this forum. David Mead rocks. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lamp. I'm pleased to hear it. And Larry is joining us online as well. Great to have all of you join us. Folks, keep your comments coming, your questions, your feedback. We'd love to have it. Now, I know that members who want to explore these peer groups can do so by filling out an interest survey. And in fact, if you're watching or listening on Monday, you should have gotten the survey in your inbox this morning. So dig down amongst the 8,500 messages to find it. So what sort of info do members need to provide in this survey, Ian?
Yeah, good news. It is in your inbox. Can confirm. Look for something from NECA Communications, and a huge thank you to our marketing team for jumping all over this with me. Kevin Ty has been extremely supportive behind the scenes. That interest, what are we looking for? We're looking for who you are so we can match you expediently to a facilitator and get you paired in the right peer group. So what size company are you? What's your marketplace? Where do you do your work? How soon do you want to be in a peer group? Are you committed to the time to be a good member and receive the value from the peer group? It's not a, hour a year, you get all this out. You really do have to invest. We're looking to understand the financial level you're willing to invest so we can pair you with the right group and know how invested you are. And then lastly, what are your expectations? What are you hoping to get out from being in a peer group? These forms, they're completely confidential, and they're going to stay between myself and the facilitator that we guide you to for group formation. And that's it. Pretty simple and straightforward.
Ian, you must be so excited to see the impact that these could have.
Oh, I can't wait. This has been an awesome couple months building the project. Everybody I've spoken with is reared up and ready to go. And when they start talking to their peers, no pun intended, that are already in peer groups, I think you can just feel the level of excitement, not only for that family reunion type, but to go into this next era of construction and just take off.
Hey, Ian, I've got a good idea. We should get the facilitators on for a future episode of NECA Live. That would be great to get to know them, to get to know their personality, their style, their experience.
I think that's a great idea. Let's get them in and let's start spreading the word, spread the message.
Absolutely. And speaking of spreading the message, Ian, if anyone wants to find out more information or to connect with you, where can they find you?
Well, good news. I am the worst hide and seek player out there. They can find me via email, ian.andrews@necanet.org. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I think I still have a Twitter and Instagram and a Facebook somewhere out there. Whatever is easiest for you as a member to communicate, just reach out, get in touch with me. I'll try to answer any questions I can and give you all the pieces so you can make an educated decision if you want to join a peer group. Want to put that in your hands and get you in, help you grow.
It sounds phenomenal. Ian, thank you so much. You're an old timer here on NECA Live. I'm going to start keeping a tally now because I think you might be up. I think we need like a NECA equivalent of an EGOT, the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. And I think you're up there. I think, I don't know who, you're definitely on more than Pete. Pete occasionally sneaks in the back door like a Zoom bomber, but you're right up there, Ian. And you always provide great value, and our members always love hearing from you. So thank you so much for being so generous with your time.
Hey, absolute pleasure to join you a third time, David. Thank you so much for having me on with you.
Thanks, Ian. And make sure you check out the comments because you're very popular in the comments, Ian, I have to say. And of course, thanks to all of you for taking the time to join us. It is so lovely to hear directly from Ian Andrews. He's the NECA field representative in the Midwestern region, but making a difference all across the country. So be sure to check out your inbox for this morning's email. That's where you can fill out the interest survey, and you have my word. These peer groups are the one way that will help move the needle on your impact in 2021 after what has been kind of a weird year for everyone. So thank you so much for joining us today on NECA Live. We will be back again very soon. But until then, I'm David Mead. You're our wonderful audience, and I'll catch you soon. NECA 2021 Nashville is our return, our big return to huge, large-scale in-person events, and interest and excitement has been through the roof to get back together in a family reunion, the likes of which Nashville has never, ever seen before. Taylor, I know a huge part of the excitement surrounding the reunion is the fact that it's in a teeny tiny town called Nashville. It is such a unique city. It's got phenomenal nightlife, great food, amazing entertainment. Why is Nashville such a great fit for NECA convention?
You know, David, this is our first time hosting a convention in the city of Nashville. So we're really excited to not only be back in person for the first time since 2019, but we're also really excited to bring this brand new environment for our attendees and our chapters. If you've been to Nashville, you know that the city just radiates this upbeat and friendly energy. And I think you're really going to see that theme kind of across the board with the convention.
I cannot wait to be there to see all of you in person. Go to necaconvention.org and reserve your spot at the #1 event for the electrical construction industry.